All right, we're live. What's up, brothers? We have a great episode for you tonight on the Before the Trainwreck series. This will be a good one. If you are watching this somewhere else in the YouTube's world, do me a favor. I'm going to drop the link to the YouTube stream. Prefer everybody would click that and come on over and watch me there. It just helps me with the algorithms a ton. So let's dive into this. I have my notes down here on how men jeopardize relationships and get dumped. This is still the most common thing that people are booking me for consults on. Coaching, consults, whatever you want to call it. It's ongoing. Guys will get into relationships. Somebody said, "Hey, can you use a guy like Prince Harry as an example in this one?" And it's difficult to use Prince Harry because he's still very useful to Meghan Markle. She needs him for her agenda. So he's still quite useful. He's a bit of a useful idiot to her. So he is not the best example. But for the generalized public, for the plebs of us out there, for example, most men start off in strong frame if they get into a long-term relationship. Bottom line is, if she wants to become exclusive with you, she wants to get into a relationship with you, whatever that look like, whatever that dynamic looks like, it's because she's got enough desire. It may not be like 10 on the desire scale. It could only be a 7 or an 8, but it's enough at the time where she says, right, let's give this a go and see what happens. So most guys will start off within a strong frame. She's obviously got some interest in him. They're having great intimacy. And through the process of betatization, through 1,000 concessions on her part, which is something she does, by the way, not intentionally. This is just something that women put most men through. When I say most, let's just say pretty much all. This is something that almost all men will go through during the course of a long-term relationship, where, again, he starts off as her pet. Pet looks like this. Thanksgiving, it's family holidays, one of the nieces or nephew's birthdays, and you're invited over for the first time, and she displays you proudly to the family. Look at, Kevin from sales. He's got a great sales record, and everybody looks at him and says, well, yeah, you're thinking in their head, yeah, he's better than Steve from accounting. And he's a handsome guy, and he's tall, and look at his muscular physique, and he seems funny, and he's entertaining, and he knows how to carry on a conversation. And she proudly, prods him about and shows him amongst the family and friends. And he starts off as a pet, how women love their pets, their cats, their little dogs. You know how that goes. So during this process in the relationship, he starts. Well, I'm going to get into the talking points to kind of break down how he becomes unattractive to his girlfriend and or wife. Maybe it's and a wife. I don't know. We'll know in a minute. But maintaining frame is probably the most important part of having a healthy long-term relationship. Women want to enter a man's frame. Women want to be led. They don't want to be the leaders. This version today, this feminist indoctrination of women is trying to teach them to behave like men. You are all equal out there. You can all be the same. Men and women are the same. You can all do exactly the same thing. So go do it. But the truth of the matter is women don't have a lot of strong, genuine desire, high levels of attraction anyway, for men that they're equal to. We know that women are hypergamous, which means that they want to get involved with men that are at least 1 or 2 points ahead of them on the sexual market value scale. That's perceived, by the way. We should talk about that for a second, because when she perceives herself, let's say as an 8, let's say he's an 8 as well. If she perceives herself as an 8, but she's in reality only a 6, but it's an overinflated sense of perception because she's got a healthy Instagram account with 20,000 thirsty betas orbiting around her because she posts some provocative photos, she might think her value is greater than what it is. But the perception of that SMV is also quite important too, so it's something to take into consideration when you're evaluating this. But again, she wants to get into a LTR with a guy that's of higher value than her, okay? And she's only going to keep him around as long as his value is deemed higher than hers. So if you're not familiar with Briffault's law, Robert Briffault, I think he was a French dude. And he observed that in the animal kingdom, so universally, I think he was mostly studying primates, but universally, the male is kept around so long as he is useful. I'm butchering the definition, of course, but in the animal kingdom, the woman decides, or sorry, the female decides how long that relationship will run. And when she deems him no longer useful to her cause, whatever it may be, he's gone. One of the things that a lot of guys get stuck on, one of the questions that they ask often is, she went from hot to cold, or I don't understand, Rich, how she went to, from interested and let's spend more time together to completely frigid and turning her back on me. And that's female nature, guys. You just have to get your head around it. A lot of guys get really enraged and they get upset. And the whole point of these conversations, these discussions, these talks that we do is so that you don't hate women for what they can never be to you. You got a lot of lies, cooking in your head, a lot of preconceived notions, a lot of Disney-esque stories that have been told to you throughout your entire life. Happy wife, happy life. Nothing rhymes with happy husband, though, right? We've never heard of anything like that, but we've all been force-fed this steady diet of just crap that's been rammed down our throat our entire life about doing all these things to placate to her, bend the knee, put her up on a pedestal, happy wife, happy life. And that process makes guys unattractive if they don't get comfortable with maintaining frame. So this broadcast is really about maintaining frame and how guys jeopardize that. Let me grab a quick look at the notes here. I see there's a super chat that pulled in. Polar Bear Toenail says, 21-year U.S. Marine here. The military is full of blue-pilled betas. I personally work with two that use feminist talking points on me when I drop truth bombs on them, and one I'm slowly reforming. It is difficult work unplugging betas from the matrix. They're not particularly fond of a new way of thinking because that's all they know. They think that's the way things should be, and they keep trying it. It's so bizarre to me because guys are particularly clever when it comes to problem solving, right? Like we like to get to the bottom of things that are in our way. I think it's in our nature, but for some reason, guys get stuck on, the lies, the comforting lies that we've been told our entire lives that are supposed to work that clearly don't, and they'll go from relationship to relationship to relationship, using the same set of rules, the same belief system that didn't work from them 17 years ago, 22 years ago, and 7 years ago, and all that sort of stuff. So let's begin here. Got another super here. Let me grab this one from Neo. He says, just finished watching your Why Tommy Lahren Keeps Throwing Childish Hissy Fits video. Rich man, that was funny and of course informative what she says and what she actually means. Yeah, so if you haven't seen that, I published that yesterday. It's on the channel. It's just yesterday's video, so you can check it out afterwards. It's just a bit of a breakdown. You guys have requested that I do some more of these breakdowns on these interesting and useful topics by, I don't know, she's not really a celebrity, but by these outspoken people with audiences. Let's just call her that, an outspoken person with a large enough audience to garner attention. Okay, we'll just define it as that. So if you come across anything like that you want me to hit on, I've already got my inbox filling up, but you can shoot me an email at entrepreneursincars@gmail.com. So if you have any tips or stories you want me to kind of cover with a breakdown style, I can certainly do that. All right, let's hop into some of my talking points here. This should be about an hour show if I get through it in a timely fashion. So the first thing that I want to talk about here when it comes to the bad cases of one-eye, well, let's first define what that looks like. This guy that I talked to the other day, trouble sleeping at night, asking questions over and over of himself in the relationship, why he can't get closure with her. Having a very hard time. Feel like when I asked him on a scale of 1 to 10 what he thought his value was, he couldn't even answer that. It was like less than nothing is basically what he said. He felt worthless. And I get the feeling. I've been there, done it, got the t-shirt. Trust me, I've been through it. I've been the alpha, I've been the beta, and everything in between. I know what the reform process looks like, and I know how difficult it is to unplug and deal with. It's really just a lot of pain for guys. You know what I'm saying? Like they really get stuck on this notion that they did all the right things, and yet they still get screwed over. And I get that's why they get pissed off. What does Chris say here? Do the work, guys. The best version of yourself daily. Absolutely, yeah. So if you guys want to grab some of these shirts and stuff, it's in the Teespring store. Of course, got all my mugs and stuff. This one's the Chase Excellence Not Women mug. You can always support the channel that way. So it's a bad case of 1A. So this is what the problem is. You can't function. Most of these guys become unproductive at work. They're asking questions of themselves. Sometimes they even like take serious consideration to, permanent steps to a temporary problem in their life, if you know what I mean. You guys can figure that one out for yourselves. But they get really, really depressed and they spin out of control and they don't know what to do with themselves. I always tell these guys, look, one day you're going to look back on this coaching call with me and you're going to think, why did I even bother? Why did I even care? Why did I put so much energy and emphasis in trying to understand why this woman did this, that, and the other things to me, sort of thing? And the starting point's a good point to try to get some clarity, but the whole getting stuck on this one that they think has some value that they're never going to find anywhere else. That's one of the first problems guys have, is because they often get into LTRs, and this is how they jeopardize relationships and often get dumped. I did a video in the car the other day about this. So one of the points that I made in it was, if you get into an LTR with a chick, you're going to wife her up or anything like that, she can't for a moment believe that she can only ever be the only one for you. Okay? She has to have this underlying belief. And I'm not saying it needs to be overtly stated, like you are replaceable, but she needs to have an underlying understanding that she will never have all dibs on your intimacy and your attention all the time. It has to be earned continuously. Women have to know that they're replaceable. And again, you don't overtly state, look, woman, you're replaceable. Some guys might, but it has to be communicated covertly through your actions, through your choices, through the decisions you make, how you go about life. And that's one of the first mistakes a lot of guys make. They start, and you'll see this a lot around Thanksgiving, anniversaries, around holidays, around birthdays, and a lot of guys do it. I've even seen some guys that you would look at as, you might define as an alpha sort of e-celeb, somebody that I'm not going to name any names, but you'll know who I'm talking about when you see it, because when you see the code in the matrix, you just can't miss it anymore. And they'll go and post a picture on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, or something like that of some woman. And this guy did one the other day. This chick had more red flags than a Chinese Communist parade. I mean, already covered in tattoos, right? Sleeves. And, praising, she's the best thing ever, blah, 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 blah. But it starts with some story or some narrative about how she didn't want to give him any attention and she dumped him after a couple of dates, sort of thing. But they managed to work it out and she's his rock, sort of thing. Like, okay, this is the one rock, this is the one unicorn all of a sudden. All the other ones weren't, right? Like this one's all of a sudden super special beyond your ex-wife and the, 20 other girlfriends and 300 other FWBs you might have had in between then and there. It's just an unrealistic belief that a lot of guys subscribe to. It just doesn't work. So inviting the wrong woman in when you have a broken belief system, you're guaranteed, you're setting yourself up for one-itis. You're setting yourself up for not being able to be productive. You're setting yourself up for depression. You really are. This is the importance of the discussions that I have in this playlist. This is the importance and the significance of the playlist that I have, the Red Pill dating stuff for men. You can check that out on my channel. Just go to the playlist one day. If you have some time to kill, go to the playlist on my channel and organize it, and you'll see the one there, Red Pill for Men. There's probably well over 100 videos in that. Every single one of those videos has a tight soundbite that defines an important term, a new belief that guys need to adopt to do better in the world. Trust me on this. So we've talked about the starting point, being a non-starter, getting into something that is not going to work out in the long run. I see it all the time, guys. You'll start to see it too, where you'll be like, okay, the clock's ticking down. The minute that he starts praising her, putting up on a pedestal, calling her a unicorn, she's the only one for me, blah, 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 insert the narrative. The clock is ticking down to the end of that relationship. Could be 3 months, could be 3 years, but I guarantee you, guy carries on in that path where he acts like she can only ever be the only one. The clock is ticking down to the end of that. Let's talk about the becoming exclusive too fast, because this is something a lot of guys contend with, very badly, in fact. The where do we stand talk, okay? And I had a hilarious conversation with a roommate of mine back in my 20s. I remember he was dating this this girl, and he said to me, well, he was my roommate, so he's at the front door, and he comes by afterwards to where I'm at because I'm hanging out in the back of the house. And he goes, I just had to talk with her at the front door. I'm like, what's that? He goes, she's asking where I stood. And from the outside, it's easy to be alpha, right? So I said to him, I go, well, did you tell her that the way I see it, we're standing at the front door and I'm seeing you off, sort of thing? It's incredibly important that you as a guy don't bring up the where do we stand talk, okay? The where do we stand talk has to come from her. You're in charge. You are the gatekeeper to relationships. As a man, if you're going to invite a woman into your life and you want to get into an LTR with her or a marriage, again, guys, I'm vehemently opposed to marriage. I've talked about it 100,000 times, but many of you are not going to listen to me, so I'm just broadly speaking about this. You do what you want with your life. But if you're going to get involved with a woman on a longer term basis and she's looking for more security, more closeness, an invitation into your inner life, we often draw a perimeter. And, we have women on the inside of the perimeter and on the outside of the perimeter. Most of you guys should be keeping women on the outside of the perimeter. There's only a very small handful of women that should ever be allowed on the inner perimeter. And they should only be allowed there after you spin plates and they get promoted to basically the best after all the crap falls off, sort of thing. And even then, they aren't perfect, trust me. So when you get exclusive too fast and you have the where do we stand talk and you bring it up as a guy, which is what most guys do, whenever I have these consults with them and they're telling me the story about how it all happened and how it all unfolded, it's them that brought up the where do we stand talk. Again, you're starting from a very bad position. You're starting from a position of neediness. You're starting from a position where you're basically stepping on her toes. She's the one that's looking for security from you. Okay, she's the one that if she sees you as a high enough value guy, should be coming up to you and being like, hey, Rich, dig your vibe, have a lot of fun with you. Let's, where do we stand, sort of thing. And even then, if it's too early on, the way you should be seeing it is I'm seeing you at the front door and I'm standing here seeing you off for the evening. Can't wait to see you next, whatever, right? You have to protect that inner perimeter, okay? So make sure that you're clear on who you're going to let on the inside of that and give it time. If you're going to let somebody in on the inner perimeter, it should be, again, because you're spinning plates. So the next point that I should make here that I have in my notes is one of the big mistakes that guys make that jeopardizes them on a long-term basis or, gets them into a position where they get dumped by a chick that they're pining for is they don't spin plates. They date, they get kind of mediocre results or not the greatest. And there's maybe one girl that gives them enough attention that they then like double down and just like laser focus on, and they throw everything at her. They throw everything, the kitchen sink, the flowers, the booking on the long weekend away to wherever, the lake house, Niagara Falls, whatever it is you're trying to do to impress her. And then you just get right into the where do we stand right away within a month or two. Okay, I've done it in the past, trust me. I know how stupid it is today. But what you need to do is stretch out that timeline quite a bit. What you need to do, guys, is date in a non-monogamous fashion with a bunch of women simultaneously and see where the best ones are. Because if that's what your goal is, if you're looking for an LTR or you're looking for something, beyond that, your goal should be have some experiences, okay? Get out there, experience female nature, because the only way that you're going to discern the better ones from the worst ones is by spinning plates. You need contrast. You can't appreciate daylight and a hot noon sun if you haven't experienced the cold darkness of 4 a.m., right? You need contrast in your life as guys to get your head around this, to get some clarity. I'm going to take a quick break and grab some of these super chats. Steve says, keep doing the work, boys. Rich speaks the truth. He's got my shirt on. Stevie boy. Study Purpose here says, I'm an engineer in one of the big tech companies, and I'm surprised to see how these very high earning dudes are the biggest blue pill betas I've ever seen in my life. Is it because of their girlfriends' wives? No, it's not. It's because they don't maintain frame. And it's not entirely their fault. It's never been taught to them. Okay? The reason why my debt relief company is so busy is because most people are never schooled on how to use credit cards and how to use money and how to balance a basic budget, which is really simple math. It's ultimately grade 4 or 5 math. It's not complicated stuff. But because nobody's taught that, and the vast majority of the marketing messages that people get as consumers in the world today is, you have more money than you think, just keep borrowing more shit to pay for stuff to impress people that don't care about you, and advertise, 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 sell them more crap. You know, if you can't afford this vehicle on 36 months, we'll give it to you over 128 months. And they just keep throwing everything at you to convince you that you've got more money than you think. It's the same thing when it comes to the sexual marketplace, when it comes to women. It's not because of the girlfriends and wives. Women are just women. You have to become better. You know, you can't wish that women were better. You can't wish that the sexual marketplace was better. You need to wish that you were better. And it's really not that hard once you kind of dive into the rabbit hole and you see the code in the matrix and you start to understand these things, which is what I'm trying to help you guys unplug with right now. Quick tea break. All right. So we've talked about not spinning plates or bringing up the where do we stand talk before she does. Again, she should be the initiator of that talk, not you. So stop initiating that talk. The next thing I want to cover is when you get into that relationship, saying yes too often and no not enough. I'll give you an example. One of the things that I noticed early on, before I got anywhere near any of the books that I've recommended, any of the content that I started to make, okay, and I was pretty much a natural at this. I was like, I am not doing stuff I don't want to do. I remember I dated this chick in my 20s, and she had this little fluffy white dog. And there's this event in Toronto, I think it's called Woofstock or something like that. Some weird name like that, like Woodstock, but Woofstock for dogs. She's like, let's take, I don't know the dog's name. We'll call him Choo Choo or whatever. Let's take Choo Choo to, Woofstock this weekend. It'll be a lot of fun. And it's like, oh, no, I'm not going to Woofstock. I was in my 20s at the time. I was still riding sport bikes, crotch rockets. I had stuff to do with my friends. I wasn't going to give up doing that to go hang around with fluffy white dog with chicks that like put sweaters on them and little booties and stuff like that. That wasn't me. And I was enough of an alpha at the time to say no, because I wanted to stay plugged into what my passions and what my desires were. But more often than not, guys are more than happy to say, okay, let's go to Woodstock. That sounds like fun. Even though they have no interest in it. I had another chick that wanted me to go to some art gallery. I can appreciate art, but honestly, walking through an art gallery all day long, looking at crap on the wall, I don't care. It's of no interest to me, and I refuse to do it. These are the sorts of things that you need to start getting comfortable saying no to. I'm not saying, be a prick about it or anything like that, but you should guard your time, and you should really focus your time on doing things that keep you mental point of origin and on your purpose. So if you're throwing away one weekend to go to Woofstock, and you're throwing away another weekend to go to some art gallery, and you're throwing away another weekend to go to her girlfriend's whatever event, and you're throwing another weekend to do this, that, or the other thing, you're just her accessory. And that's when you start moving across the scale from pet. Remember how I told you guys pet early on, she kind of strolls you around the family event and, hey, look, here's Kevin from sales and sort of thing. And it's like, you're like, okay, like everything's good sort of thing. Fine. You're the pet. And then you slowly start moving down that scale. You're no longer the pet. Now you're sliding in the plow horse territory. Okay. When you say yes too often and no not enough, you are starting to jeopardize. The clock starts ticking down. Okay. Yeah. Hashtag, right? Not going to Woofstock. Let me grab this quick super chat here. Pedro says, can you give advice on how to maintain frame after the honeymoon phase? Thanks for the valuable content. So this is where I'm kind of leading into right now. This is the frame component after the honeymoon phase. Again, so if you're just hopping in now, I want you to back up about 10, 15 minutes and you'll start catching up on it. So saying yes too often and not saying no enough, that's an extremely important thing. Get used to it. You have to tune into your inner a-hole. There's an old saying that I learned when I was living in the UK, and it was to keep them keen, you've got to be a little mean. Okay? Again, they're not saying be an a-hole, be a prick, or any of those things, but you've got to be a little mean. You've got to be able to maintain frame and say no. And you don't need to explain yourself. Well, why won't you go to Woodstock with me? Because, Greg's going to go with Becky, and that means Greg's a better boyfriend than you are, and Becky really appreciates it. By that time, I'm on my motorcycle doing a wheelie down the street. Okay? It's as simple as that. You're not going to comply with any of the nonsense or have to answer for silly stuff. It's just, see ya. Peace, right? Let's talk about failing the competency tests, also known as shizzle tests, shit tests. We'll use that word. We can swear a little bit on YouTube. I understand if it's not at the very beginning. Do me a favor, guys. Smash the like button. Let me know that you're enjoying this broadcast. It helps me out a ton with the algorithms. Thanks. So competency tests will start to come up in the relationship. They will. The reason why they come up, if she's not testing you, then okay, one of two things. If she's not testing you, one, she either thinks that you're going to pass them all and she already sees you as the best that she can possibly do, which is usually the unlikely of the two. The second reason why she's constantly testing you is because she doesn't know that you're the best that she can do. I know that sounds kind of bizarre, explain it that way, but just stick with me. A standard competency test. Let's say you're out and you're driving to Niagara-on-the-Lake to go to a winery for a wine tasting and a food pairing, and you're enjoying yourself, sort of thing. You got a flat tire, okay? At this point, what do? You pick up the phone and call CAA and have these guys and sit around and wait for them to come fix it? Does she call her dad to come over and fix the flat tire? Or do you fix the flat tire yourself? Fixing a flat tire is a competency skill. And honestly, you'd be surprised. A lot of guys don't know how to swap out a tire. It's a basic skill. That's just an example of one of them. There's different ways that she can competency test you. She can test your frame, right? To see if you're a strong guy that can hold frame in a relationship, i.e., wolf stock and booties for the shoe dog and girlfriend and Becky and it's like, no, you guys go and have fun. Bring your girlfriends with you. I'll see you later on that night. You can come by, sort of thing. That's what you're going to do. That in itself is a competency test to see whose frame is a dominant frame in the relationship. And she wants to enter your frame. You have to have something going on, okay? You have to have something going on in your life to invite her into it. She doesn't want to invite you into her life. No woman wants to do that. She wants to be invited into your life. So you have to have something going on. You have to have a structure. You have to have something that she wants to be a part of, okay? It has to be interesting. You have to have some kind of purpose. You have to be doing something productive. People have to ideally look up to you, right? When they talk about looks, money, status sort of thing, the status part, the status component comes in when people look up to you. And you don't have to be a celebrity. Like, you don't have to be a DJ. You don't have to have whatever going on with recognition. I sometimes randomly have people that walk up to me, when I'm out with my girl, and they'll thank me for this, that, and the other thing. But it doesn't even have to be that. You can go to your favorite sushi joint, and it's just because you've been there enough and you know the guy that runs a place, and it's a small boutique restaurant with 6 or 7 tables. He bows when you come in. He's pleased to see you. He knows you by your first name. He says, pick whatever table you want, and he brings out, what you normally start with. That's a similar sort of thing. So you have to have things going on in your life, right? Again, if she's going to enter your frame, you have to have something going on. You can't be basic. Again, women only marry and date up. They want to be, they're hypergamous, right? So they want to be with somebody that's higher than them on the socioeconomic scale. I always tell guys, whenever you're running your dating game, or if you're running dating profiles, you're basically advertising a life that she may want to enter. So if your photography includes you hanging out in a trailer park with some trash, she's going to look at it and think, why would I want to be invited into that life? Versus another guy that she swipes over to the next picture on, and he's on a $100,000 wake surfing boat with 4 other buff dudes and 7 hot women in tight bikinis, and they look like they're having a good time with music and all kinds of stuff like that. She's going to swipe right on that one over the other guy, even if he's better looking. It's just part of the status component of it. So you have to have stuff going on in your life, right? And she's going to start competency testing you more and more. Usually, I mean, if they're back to back to back to back sort of thing, usually because she doesn't see you as the best that she can do. Got another super chat here. Let's deal with this one. Not So Plain says, Rich, how do I stop this bad habit of talking to multiple women and then picking the best one and ignoring the rest? You know what I mean? How do I stop this bad habit of talking to multiple women? How is that a bad habit, dude? That's not a, that's spinning plates. That is the definition of spinning plates. You should be talking to multiple women and then picking the best one and ignoring the rest. I'm not really sure. Like, are you trolling me here? That's got to be a troll. Come on, guys. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know that that's how things operate. Let's try to keep up here. Okay, this is kind of intermediate stuff. I'm not even doing the advanced stuff yet. We do the advanced stuff in the men's community. Okay. Let's talk about being too needy. What are we at? The 30-minute mark. Beautiful. Let's talk about being too needy. So, great example. This guy that I was talking to the other day, COVID hits, back in March, April-ish around here. This guy's about a 3-hour drive away from his girlfriend. Starts dating her the year before. And they're having a good time. They're spending time apart. They're spending time together. COVID hits. And he has an opportunity to either stay where he's at or go up and stay with her 3 hours away. Because he doesn't need to work and he can work from home, he decides, I'll go up to her. So all of a sudden, his neediness starts to skyrocket because he's now in her house. He's in her frame. It's actually her parents' house. They're well out of the age range where he should be living at her parents' house with her, and she's well out of the age range where that should be happening. But nonetheless, this is where they're at. So his neediness all of a sudden goes up. He's there all the time. He gets comfortable, starts hanging out with the family. They do stuff together. They're enjoying it. But then all of a sudden, what starts happening is he starts to see things that he sees as risks in the relationship. She's still talking to her ex-boyfriend. They're upon their travels around town. She's saying things, oh, this is where Steve from accounting was going to buy a house. He made an offer on this lot over here to build something. And then over here is where, Kevin from sales was going to do blah, 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 sort of thing like that. And she's da-da-da-da. And he's entertaining it. And then he starts to feel needy because he feels threatened. Neediness, again, starts the clock ticking down. It is not good for long-term relationships. It is not maintaining frame. You can't be needy in a relationship with women. Women despise, I can't emphasize this enough, women despise needy men. They hate them. They do not like needy men. And you can be the hottest dude to her from day one. But if through the process of betatization, through 1,000 concessions, yes, honey, yes, we'll go to Woofstock. Yes, we'll go do that too. Yes, we'll go to that family event. Yes, we'll do that. And you start to abandon all your passions and pursuits and purposes, and you start, doing hers. You make her the focus rather than a complement to your life. We've talked about that many, many times. You start to get too needy. Let's talk about enforcing boundaries, since we were chatting about the contact that she had with exes, with males, which facilitated some of the neediness. You need to enforce boundaries with certain things with women. Abu American, I don't know if you guys follow him on Twitter. He posted a picture this morning of 2 smashed cell phones. So he's Muslim. He's got multiple wives. And I think the caption was something along the lines of, they won't be on social media for a while. And I asked him, I said, what line in the sand do they cross? And he said something along the lines of, well, they were creating public drama on social media. So if they're going to behave like petulant children, that's how they're going to be treated. That's how you enforce boundaries. Okay. Now that's a different example of it. He obviously has a different belief set from some of you other guys, but you understand what I'm getting at here. Okay. If she starts if I'm out with my girl and she starts running her mouth about some guy that she used to date and what they were doing and offer they made on lots or properties and stuff like that, my response would be basically to look at her with amused mastery and just say, look, if you still have feelings for him, just give me the address and I can go drop you off at his place, right? You have to be clear that women with boyfriends don't entertain any kind of engagements with other men. It's as simple as that. There are no male friends when you've got a boyfriend. And that's not being needy. That's not being controlling. That's called managing frame. That's, it's as simple as that. You don't allow it. It's not something that you permit. Great Dane 10 super chat. $10 super chat. Try to get that out of my mouth there. Your old video on breakups. Take 6 months off from new. I found myself drowning in female-related content, normal or in need of redirection. Female-related I'm assuming you're a dude. Why would you be watching female content or female-related content? Clarify that for me. I'm not sure what I'm looking at here. You probably need some redirection on that one. So we talked about neediness, not enforcing boundaries with male friends and social media. That's the other thing too. If you've got a girl that you've engaged into a long-term relationship and you've brought her into your, you've drawn a perimeter, you brought her on the inside of that. There is no more seeking attention from other people on social media. Okay. The female sexual strategy is unlimited access. Sorry. The male sexual strategy is unlimited access to unlimited women. Okay. The female strategy is different. It's open hypergamy. Is this guy the best that I can do? Picture a skating rink, an ice rink, hockey players, football pitch. Let's just use soccer as an example. We got footballers on a pitch. If they're on the pitch and they're running the ball, they're playing the game. Okay. If you've got a woman in your life that you've invited into your, within the inner perimeter and you're in a relationship with her and she's still posting sexy, provocative pictures on social media platforms, what do you think is going to happen, dude? She's going to get all kinds of guys, some beta, some alpha, sliding into her DMs, looking to hook up with her. Like her phone basically turns into a box of dicks. Let's just be honest with you. You have to enforce that boundary. And it's like, you have to tell her, women with boyfriends don't go on social media soliciting the attention from other guys. Well, what does that mean? You're trying to control me, blah, 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 blah. No. Are you using this to, are you actually running a business on this? Does it rely on you showing off your TNA on Instagram on a daily basis, doing whatever it is that you do? Are you running a business? Are you selling bikini wear? What is it that you're using this for? Because if you're not, then what you're doing is you're exercising your strategy, your sexual strategy, which is open hypergamy, and you're on the football pitch, playing the game, running the ball, marketing yourself. You have to put boundaries around it. This is one of the things that you have to do as guys, is you have to learn how to set boundaries in your relationship. Okay. This is the two that I've seen most often. There's others, but this is the two that I've seen most often is male friends and social media. Guys will let women get away with the most utter nonsense. Having lunches and dinners with ex-boyfriends, dude. You're in for it. The clock is ticking down, okay? Letting her posting pictures daily, multiple times a day on social media, sexy, provocative pictures, looking for attention from other guys, okay? You're digging your own grave. You know what I'm saying? Let me grab this clarification here from Great Dane. Red pill and anti-feminism related YouTube content. Red pill and anti-feminism. I'm not certain whether I'm educating myself anymore or obsessing. Okay, gotcha. When it comes to TRP, okay, which is your first part, the red pill, there's nothing wrong with that. It's an enlightenment. It's a dive into the rabbit hole that helps you understand intergender dynamics. Where guys go wrong is where they get too caught up in the feminist, let's make women great again, BS narrative, purple pill stuff, black pill stuff. It's cut and dry. In my view, and what's worked for me, okay, from my own experience and my own unplugging and becoming better and being able to talk about these things in a coherent fashion, is it's just the truth, okay? My definition on Instagram, my bio says, I crush comforting lies with the uncomfortable truth. And that's all TRP is, okay? The anti-feminism, let's make women great again, all that blah, blah, blah narrative, that's a load of crap. all the, oh, just give up, why even bother? You're starting from, like a losing position. Like you only win by not playing the game. Ignore that. Women are women. Okay. Feminism is what it is. It's this narrative today that has become something that nobody expected when, what was it? The repealing of the 19th, they say, is like the origin of all this. Who cares about all that stuff? It is what it is. Okay. The point that I'm going to make here to Great Dane specifically is truth hurts. Steve just said that in a comment. Truth hurts sometimes. But the point being, guys, is you can't unsee the truth once you've seen it. You can try to sugarcoat it. You can put lipstick and makeup on a pig. It's still a pig. You can put a manatee and Spanx, put a wig on it, do the hair and makeup, put it in high heels and teach it to walk. It's still a manatee, right? So it doesn't matter what you paint on it or what reasoning you want to wrap around it to subscribe to a slightly different belief. It's not accurate. The truth is a truth. There is truth and there is lies. I crush comforting lies with uncomfortable truths. That's what I'm doing right now. So I hope that clarification helps you out, man. Okay, we talked about not enforcing boundaries, male friends, social media. We've covered that. Let's deal with lacking in conventional male competency skills, because we were talking about shit tests earlier. I used the flat tire as an example. Women want a civil guy that can be lethal, that has competency skills. Okay, men throughout history. I mean, the reason why women seek security and shelter from men, like women love big guys. There's no question about it. It's hardwired into their genetic coding to seek out the best male that they can get. And that's not just financial resources, okay? It's not just, oh, he's funny or he's the funniest of the bunch, because otherwise they would all get involved with like the court jester. The court jester did not do well with women. He was the clown, okay? The competency skills, like leadership competency skills. Can this guy deal with shit when it hits the fan? If there's a flat tire, can he deal with it? Can he deal with a zombie apocalypse when it comes? Can he make it rain when money needs to be accessed? It's all of these things combined. And the better that you are at all of these things, the more valuable you become, the more irreplaceable that you become. It's why you see these high value men out there today who can get into relationships with multiple women simultaneously, and they don't balk an eye, because women are more than happy to share a high value they would rather share a high value alpha than be straddled with a faithful loser. Okay? If you're a faithful loser, you jeopardize a relationship and get dumped at some point. And don't be surprised if Becky goes off with Chadosaurus, Giga Chad, even for example, and shares him with a bunch of other women. That's just the reality of it. Sid K says, even before learning about TRP, the reason my ex was constantly arguing with me was because I would never let her exercise her hypergamy. She will comply and enter your frame if she sees you as the best that she can do. If she's constantly crap testing you and arguing with you, it's because she doesn't. She's pushing back at you. That's why that typically happens. But yes, you're doing the right thing by setting boundaries around it. Typically it's usually around with her having like male friends. Oh, we're just friends. There's a really funny meme that I posted on Instagram the other day. Here, let me pull it up because this will be useful to you guys. Let me just throw it up on the screen because I can't describe it without showing it to you. There it is. So share screen. We'll throw this up on the application window. There you go. Her. He's just a friend. Me. Okay then. Text him. You want to bang? And see what he says. Try it next time. Next time she tries to tell you, he's just a friend. See what happens. Just grab her phone and text him and see what he does. All right? Point made. Maintain frame. It's as simple as that. These are my rules. Comply or goodbye. Get involved with them. Okay. Not enforcing boundaries, talked about that. There's four more, and then I got to wrap up real quick. So getting involved with women with a higher than your own SMV. Actually, I kind of covered that earlier on, so I'm not going to get into that in specific detail. But if you chase down a woman that's of higher value, obviously higher value than you, okay, and you don't bring enough to the table to keep her around, that again, the clock is ticking down to the end of the relationship. Okay, you can goose it. You can throw all kinds of money at her. There's what's that TV show on TLC? 90 Day Fiance. You see these dorks from the West that will go to Latin America, like some of these third world countries are basically crap holes, and they'll go there to find these women. Some of them are reasonably hot. I mean, they're way out of their ballpark. Like they're not even playing in the same ballpark, some of them, when it comes to looks. But because the guys from the West, there's guys that show up with man breasts that are 400 pounds, that have no game, that are thirsty betas, that bend the knee. And then all of a sudden they bring the back. You can watch some of these shows. And then they bring the back and she's like, well, I was really hoping for this dress and this big wedding and I want this ring and I want you to buy that. And he's like, but I work at the post office and I only make X amount of dollars per year, so I can't afford that. So we have to be on a budget. And she's like, what the fuck? That's not how it works. That's one of the big mistakes a lot of these guys make when they get involved with women with a higher SMV than their own. Go to the third world country and stay there, because that's where your money's going to go far. As soon as you bring her back over here, clock is ticking down. Tick tock, tick tock. All right. How many more do we got here? Get involved. So we got letting a alpha widow enter your relationship. So what's an alpha widow? An alpha widow is a woman, let's define it this way, is a woman that pines for the attention of a guy from her past that she got dumped by. Might be an ex-boyfriend, might be Giga Chad from the foam cannon party in Cancun that made promises to her. Maybe he knocked her up. Maybe she's got kid in tow from Giga Chad and she's alpha widowed by him, but she never forgets that guy. And it's obvious. You get involved in a relationship with a woman that's alpha widowed and it's obvious, you're in trouble. Clock is ticking down to the end of that relationship. Because if she doesn't see you of higher value and she's still pining from the guy from the past, you're screwed. Overtime, guaranteed. We talked about making her everything. And let's just wrap it up on this last note. This is a beautiful timeline. We're making good progress here. Losing contact with your friends and hobbies. So I talked earlier on about guys that will, give up hanging out with their sport bike gang and go to Woofstock instead with the fluffy white dog with the boots and sweater. That's not how it goes, guys. More often than not, guys are more than willing to give up friends, give up hobbies, passions, and pursuits and things that they love for her. And let me tell you this right now. Here's a little secret. She doesn't want you to, fellas. She really doesn't. She wants you on that purpose. She truthfully doesn't want you to go to Woofstock with the stupid fluffy dogs and the sweaters and the booties. She wants to know that you're out doing wheelies with your buddies, causing trouble, get like outrunning the cops and talking to pretty girls while you're away. That's ideally what she wants going on. As silly as that sounds, that's what gets her going. Okay. Don't lose contact with friends. Don't lose contact with hobbies and interests that you have. Don't get derailed from your purpose if you're on something that's important, that's putting a dent in the universe. It is significant, and it is part of the reason why she had attraction to you from the get-go, because of those things. When you start to abandon those and you make her the focus of your life instead of a complement to your life, that's when the clock starts ticking down again. Let me grab this super chat here real quick. Azant Eon, thanks for the 25. Ron, I don't even know what a Ron is, but thank you. Had a one-itis a few years ago. She has one forearm tattoo, dyed red hair, started talking, responds late, weeks later, advice. She was in India, dude. A woman that has genuine burning desire does not ghost you. She will do the weirdest things that other chicks won't. if she has a genuine burning desire, if she has strong, genuine burning desire. A lot of guys ask questions like this. It's some version of, she did this and then she ghosted me. There was a tattoo, whatever, kid in tow, whatever the other narrative is. Advice. Why do you think that happened? And it just boils down to this: if she's not still in your world, okay, if she's not a plate, if she's not your girlfriend right now, if she's not FWB or any of those things, it's because she doesn't have strong, genuine, burning desire for you. Women will, women, women won't date a guy that lives with his mother, but she'll date a guy that lives with his wife. Okay, if that guy is high enough value, again, women will share high value men. Okay, that's fine. That's what they do. You have to watch their behaviors. All right. I think this was a good one. It looks like you guys enjoyed it. So thank you for that. Thanks for the super chats. Let's quickly go over a couple of things before I wrap up. So I just want to show you guys my clips channel, which is here. Is that working? No. Come on, remove. Let's try that again. Stop screen, share screen, application window, clips channel, share. There we go. So I'll just drop this in the chat. I started up a clips channel a few weeks ago. We're almost at 3,000 subs, so it's coming along nicely. What I'm doing is I'm getting my editor to take the tightest sound bites off my normal streams, and then I'm dropping them on that channel. So if you want like short, like 6 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute type of clips, instead of watching the entire 2 hour thing, you can just refer to the clip, excuse me, on that tight piece of information. So go check that out. I've dropped that in the chat there. I would love it if you guys would go subscribe to that. Also, if you want to, let me hit the channel sponsor and the red flag chapter. So red flag chapter is here. So pinned in the top comment of this broadcast, pinned in the top comment of all my videos, there's some useful links. I want you guys to get on my email list if you're not already on it. You'll get the free chapter on red flags. This chapter is good for you guys getting familiar with spotting a Chinese communist parade coming your way. If you don't have good understanding around these red flags right here, there's a pretty strong chance that you're going to ignore strong signs and signals that you're inviting a train wreck into your life. So grab that. You get on my email list. You can download that. You'll also get notified when the book's available. And as an added bonus now, this is what I started doing last month. I'm sending out, because I do workshops in my men's community, I'm sending out the recording from at least one of those workshops every, I'm going to say 30 to 60 days or so. So about once every month to 2 months. So I don't send out a lot of emails. So when I do, it's always something useful. Last month, I did one, it was about an hour-long workshop on what not to do in business if you want to be successful. I've got another one coming up, which I'll, of course, do for my men's community live. And then I'll send the recording out to my email list only. So get on that email list. That's how you get that stuff over there. All right. Shout out to the channel sponsor, of course, Tactical Soap, just over my shoulder over here. Can I go that way with my finger? There we go. Pheromone infused, handmade soap and beard oils, high quality products. Been using it for the last couple of years. Scott's been a great supporter of the creation of content on my channel. It's what allows me to have these conversations and do these things. I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate the channel members and all that stuff. But of course, if you want to grab some of this high quality stuff, links below, coopersoap.com, or it's also pinned in the top comment. You check out with coupon code Cooper, you get 10% off on checkout. Check it out. Stuff's awesome. My favorite stuff is the orange one just over my shoulder here today, and the Bond, which is the black box. The orange one has a pumice in it. It's really nice. All right, we'll wrap it up on that. I got a lot of videos coming out this week and a lot more the week after that. I've kind of got swamped on requested topics and some other stuff I've been covering while I've been going on my day with some drives. So lots of content coming out. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. See you guys in the next video. Peace.